racing fans, welcome to race day preview. It's another 2-day carnival, but before I begin, I just would like to say you have to continue to listen to this program. And last, I gave you a few nice winners. I can recall Duchess in the first race. Also, I told you Clive Lynchwood won his first race upon returning, and also StarQuest would have beaten He's Sensational based on how I assess the races. Was a little bit disappointed with the St. Ledger as Supreme Soul ended up fourth. I think Gianellis gave that horse too much work to do, in my estimation. The horse breaks well, was taken off a fraction, and I think by the time Gianellis realized what was happening, most of the horse were long gone. Also, Sensational Soul could have bled, I'm not sure, or just have a bad day. However, I think that horse will be back. So let's jump right into it. First race starts at noon. 3 years and up, optional claiming 350 down to 250. 8 declared. I think I'm gonna go with 6 of them. The race is a very poor race, so I'm kicking off with 6, and that is 2 Angelus, 3 Rowan Kabir, 4 Nalas Bushman, 5 Print Quality, 6 6th Avenue, 8 Fault Line. Angelus continues to run in and out. This horse is changed stable now. I think Angelus will strike at some point in time at a nice price, and you have to give this horse a look in, has somewhat of ability, just not getting her head in front. However, I'm willing to give Angelus another shot because this race is so poor. 3 Rowan Kabir. This is the horse. This is a class horse. However, Rowan Kabir has not raced since the 18th of January 2025. Has not been doing anything at exercise. But we all know if Rowan Kabir turns up, the Rowan Kabir we know, this won't be a race, but that is if. But you still have to give this horse a look in. Lame on the last 4 occasions, and as such this horse is a suspect, but can win this race if decides to run his honest race. 4 Nalas Bushman. This horse doesn't have much early speed, but has a late kick, and with blinkers off, which I don't think is the right decision, because Nalas Bushman runs well in the blinkers, but I guess the trainers knows what they are doing. I expect Nalas Bushman to be running on in deep stretch, and he's good enough to catch them. 5 Print Quality. This is another horse that has been knocking at the door, continues to broke slow, but if Print Quality decides to give off his best, this is a horse that can upset this race. So I'm not going to leave Print Quality out of my pick 6. 6 6th Avenue. This is the horse I think they will all have to beat. The last time this horse won by 4 lengths, beating General Chief and Bad Investment. That was the 350,000 claiming company. Stepped up to 500,000, has no chance against Let Him Fly and Wilson is back down now to 350, working quite decent on the 28th of the 6th, 4 furlong in 49.4 by 105. This kind of work is good enough to beat these. I know Rowan Kabir will be all the rage, but I think 6th Avenue is fit enough, sound enough, and this is the horse they all have to beat. 8th, Fault Line. This is another horse that tumbled down the claiming ladder. Is the lowest I've ever seen Fault Line race. And although height in the scale, I'm not going to leave Fault Line with a bustling Philip Parchment. But like I said, I'm going to go with horse number 6, 6th Avenue, to go right to that lead and hold off 2, Angelus, 3, Rowan Kabir, 4, Nala's Bushman, 5, Print Quality, 8, Fault Line. And if you're looking for an outsider, it's between Angelus and Print Quality. Moving on to race number 2, restricted allowance 2, 3 years and up, none is of 2, imported 3 years maiden. We have a field of 7. I'm going to boil this race down to 2 horse, and that is horse number 3, Rocket Fire Seb, and horse number 6, Sash On. Rocket Fire Seb, this was beaten and last by Miss Barbella. Chase all the way. I think Rocket Fire Seb needed a little bit of ground. The trip now increased from 5 furlong to 6 furlong, working quite decent on the 7th of the 7th, 4 furlong in 48.3. I think Rocket Fire Seb is coming to run. 6, Sash On. First time runner. It's a Trill Dark Bay filly. It's a Canadian bred horse, and this horse is working pretty decent. 30th of the 6th, 4 in 46.2 by a minute, alongside stable companion Sashit. Based on the exercise report, I'm willing to give horse number 6, Sashit. Keep saying Sashit, Sash On, with Radish Roman to get the better of horse number 3, Rocket Fire Seb. For your trifecta, you could put Sashit or Brampton Boy. Moving on to race number 3. 3 years and up, claiming 1.5 million down to 1.2. 8 declared, 7 furlong. This race very competitive, and I'm going to narrow it down to at least 6 of them. Yes, 6 of them. And that is 1, Burn Notice, 2, Awesome Anthony, 3, Milos, 4, I Realize, 5, Money Monster, and on the outside, horse number 8, Mr. Senator. Burn Notice, very fit, very consistent horse. This horse ran some pretty decent races. A very dangerous horse, 52.5 kilo, compliments of Demar Williams. 7 furlong is right up Burn Notice Street, and this horse is so fit right now that Burn Notice will run a very good race. 2, Awesome Anthony. This is a horse with the controlling speed in this race. Where's the Henry on board? I think Awesome Anthony, 7 furlong, just about the right trip. The last occasion this horse was seen making late gain, but there was a lot of speed in that race. Horses such like Taurus Boy, Milos. I think with those horses, with Taurus Boy not present this time around, I think some Anthony will go right to that lead, and this is the horse I think they will have to get back to. 3, Milos is another horse that is very speedy, has pace, late on start prior to race time and last. However, on the 28th of the 6th, 4 in 52.2, which shows that Milos is sound. you have to give Milos a shot going 7 furlong. 4, I realize this is another horse that is very fit, has some amount of speed, of pace, was caught and last by Downing class Titan Tempo. They have now replaced Radish Roman with the apprentice Tyrese Anderson. This horse comes in at 51 kilo. If there's an upset in this race, I think it would be I realize. Don't leave this horse. 5, Money Monster. This is the horse I think they will all have to beat. This horse is the class horse. Raced at the $1 million claiming company and last when ended up 7th by 12 length when beat by Sunny T and Chippy. However, Money Monster got a little break. Working quite decent on the 28th of the 6th, 4 in 46.2 by 59.3. I think Radish Roman should just sit just off the pace with Money Monster and should be charging at them, and is good enough to catch the front runners. 8, Mr. Senator. This horse is void of early speed. However, this horse ran against much better horses and was seen running on in all those races. Has a habit of walking out the box. However, 7 furlong might just be the right trip for Mr. Senator, and I think Mr. Senator will be storming home. However, I'm going to go with horse number 5, Money Monster, to get the better of horse number 4, I Realize. Burn Notice, Awesome Anthony, the long-time leader, Milos. Look for Mr. Senator to be flying at them. Moving on to race number 4, the Street Allowance. 5 years and up, numbers of 2, 6.5 furlong, 9 declared. I'm going to boil this race down to 4 of them. And that's 2, Mo Aviator, 4, Tapping In, 8, Money Musk, 9, Leading Lad. Mo Aviator. This horse is getting fitter and fitter with each run. Last time out, 4th by 12.25 length when beaten by Money Box and Xyphonic Steel. Village Apartment Road. Mo Aviator on that day, maintains the ride. Has some pace, will be under front end. I think Mo Aviator will be a dangerous horse comes Saturday. 4, Tapping In. Late non-start prior to race time, injured on last. Before that, this horse ended up 2nd by a length and a half when beaten by Toots. Omar Walker now replaces O'Shea Nugent. Tapping In has speed, has pace, will be on that lead, and I think this is the horse they will all have to beat. Horse number 8, Money Musk. Very fit right now. This horse very consistent. Was in that same race when beaten by Toots. Was 5th by 11 length after slowing the stride. Was he making mild progress. Once Money Musk jumps with the field, I expect Money Musk to sit right with them and could run by the front runners quite easily. Horse number 9, Leading Lad. Very interesting horse. Has raced since the 30th of November 2024. However, Leading Lad kept much better company than these. Has some issues though. Might need a run or 2. But I'm going to slide this horse in my permutation. However, I'm going to go with horse number 4, Tapping In, to get the better of horse number 8, Money Musk. Then for 3rd, Mo Aviator, Leading Lad, to complete your exotics. Moving on to race number 5, 5 years out, optional claiming. We have a field of 9. This race is very poor, and I implore punters to go deep. However, I'm gonna go with 6 of them. 2 XY Soul, 3 Galloway Bay, 4 Boss Easy, 5 Pip, 6 Last Ore, 9 Wear Your Honor. XY Soul was seen running on last, ended up third by 3 lengths when beat by Easy Lion and Last Ore. A much better company than this, although I think XY Soul would prefer another furlong or so, but this race is so poor, and I think XY Soul will be coming at them once again and should be good enough to catch these. Galloway Bay, very disappointing on last when ended up 11 by 13 length when beat by Phenomenal One and the Gifted One, but that was a much tougher race. Is now back to the company that she can manage. Getting on in ages, 9-year-old Clive Lynch now calls on, picks up some weight, 57 kilo, but like I said, this race is so poor that I think Galloway Bay is good enough to beat this field. Boss Easy is a very fit horse, continues to disappoint. However, I know that Boss Easy enjoys galloping over the straight course. Iran Chatri now replaces Marshall Porter. Was 7 by 8.5 lengths in that race, won by Blade. I think Boss Easy is much fitter now, and I expect a better run from Boss Easy, which is good enough to get into the winner's enclosure. 5 Pip. This horse has some amount of speed. Was beaten by Queensland and Silver Fox on last. On that day, Pip carries 57 kilo, now down to 53.5 kilo. Pip should run a much brave race. 6 Last Ore. This horse is very fit, very consistent. Won on the 17th of May, won by 3 lengths when beating the likes of Body Move and Blinding Light. On last, second by 2.25 lengths when beaten by Easy Lion while at the quarter bend. Last Ore is so fit that should be able to close rapidly and is good enough to catch these. 9 Wear Your Honor is another horse with some amount of speed, drawn on the outside. Once fit and sound, Wear Your Honor should run a good race, although lame on the last 2 occasions. But I think Wear Your Honor is good enough to fight out the finish. However, I'm going to stick with horse number 3, Galloway Bay, who I think has a little bit more class than these, to get the better of horse number 2, XY Soul, will be running on. Boss Easy, Pip, Last Ore, Wear Your Honor. Moving on to race number 6. 3 years and up, optional claiming, 700 down to 600. 11 declared, 7 furlong. Very competitive, however, I'm going to go with 4 of them. 1, Sir John. 4, Rusty. 7, Justin Biden. 8, Crimson. Sir John, one at the $1 million claiming on last, down to 700,000. Shane Ellis calls on to do duties. Sir John is so fit right now, and this is the horse they will all have to beat. 4, Rusty. Won by 11 lengths on last. Didn't beat much. Beat the likes of Lord of Ajalon and Duke of Spring. However, the manner in which Rusty won, I think I'll have to give Rusty a look in. If Rusty goes to that lead, opens up 2 or 3 lengths in front, could cause some anxious moments, could slip away. So I'm not going to leave Rusty based on the fact that Rusty has won so easily on last. 7, Justin Biden, also in the stride on last and was beaten by Nakamura. He's back now, he's very fit, tongue tie on. I expect Justin Biden to be right there in the final shake-up. 8, Crimson. Is another horse that is getting fitter and fitter with each run. Was beaten by Lucy in the Sky and last, second by 13.5 length. I think Crimson with Richie Shakes. If there's a horse to beat Surgeon, it would be Crimson. I think I'm going to stick my neck out and I'm going to take a shot at Crimson. Crimson to create a mile upset to beat Surgeon, Justin Biden, Rusty. Superfecta players, Wilson and Shiboom. Moving on, race number 7. Restrict allowance, run 4 years and up. Imported 4 years. 6 furlong, have a field of 8. I'm gonna boil it down to 3 horse. Yes, only 3. 2 Zulu Warrior, 5 Riches to Rags, 6 Floridia. 2 Zulu Warrior. This is a horse won like a out of class horse on last. This horse won by 14 length, beating the likes of Princess Fiani and Train of Thoughts. This horse is very fit right now. 6 furlong, it's just about the right trip. The time was pretty decent, 1:14. Zulu Warrior is coming to run once again. 5 Riches to Rags. Now, very interesting. This horse has been beaten by far superior horses than these. Just to name a few: Supernatural Power, Incredible Joe, Ride All Day, Stable Companion. 6 furlong, but might be a little bit short. However, I think Riches to Rags is very fit. Should just sit maybe 3rd or 4th, and I think this horse is good enough to get to the leaders. 6 Floridiana. This horse is working pretty decent. On her debut, this horse finished 9th by 10 length when beaten by Unbelievable Force at Money Market. Working pretty decent. 3 furlong in 36 flat on the 10th of the 6th. Also on the 20th of the 6th, 6 furlong in 1:15 flat. However, I think Riches to Rags is much fitter, and I'm going to take a shot at Riches to Rags with Ian Daly Baby Spence to get the better of horse number 6, Floridia. Then for 3rd, Zulu Warrior. Rounding off, Superfecta, King's Crown, My Sunshine. Moving on to race number 8, it's a graded stakes, open allowance. 6 furlong, 7 declared. I think I'm going to go with 3 of them. And that is 2 California Crown, 4 Packed Play, 7 Legacy Als. California Crown, very speedy. This horse should go to the lead. Abigail Abel, 47 kilo. This horse is very light. Can slip away. So watch out for California Crown to run a brave race. 2 Packed Play. This horse is very consistent. Has a lot of pace, has class. Second by head on last and beat by Champion Bubbler. Packed Play with Shane Richardson. On the 6th of the 7th, 4 and 48, 2. Packed Play is a dangerous contender. The horse I think they will all have to beat is horse number 7, Legacy Als. This horse is improving rapidly. Last time out, this horse won by 8 1/4 length, beating Fearless Soul and Chocamo. 57 kilo on that day. Radish Roman maintains the ride for the 3rd consecutive occasion. I'm going to go with horse number 7, Legacy Als, to get the better of horse number 4, Packed Play. California Crown can create a mile upset mahogany for your exotics. Race number 9, restricted allowance, 4 is and up. Field of 11, 7 furlong. Very competitive. However, I'm going to go with 4 of them. 1, oil machine. 4, train of thoughts. 6, king pie. 7, princess Fiani. Oil machine. Very game and consistent horse. Very fit. This horse has been running some pretty decent races. Oil machine will be on the front end, and I think is good enough to hold off the challenge of the late closers. 4, train of thoughts. This is another horse that I expect to win some time ago. Somewhat of a disappointment. However, this horse is very fit. The last time out, slow into stride, third by 16 length and beat by Zolo Warrior. I think this horse is ripe, cherry ripe now. Look at the work on the 7th of the 7th, 3 furlong in 36.3. Figure 8 now on. I think train of thoughts is the horse to beat here. 6, King Pie. Slow into stride on last when beat by Provident. And as I said, there's a competition between Shane the Canterman Ellis and Radish the Sneaky Fox. Shane continues to get the better of Sneaky Fox. King Pie is coming to run. They have replaced Omar Walker with the Canterman. 5th of the 7th, 5 in 103 alongside Easy Money. So you know King Pie is coming to run. Princess Fiani ran a very brave race on last when beaten by Zolo Warrior. Chase all the way. He's back now with Wesley Henry. There is no Zulu Warrior. I expect Princess Fiani to hook up on the front end alongside Oil Machine and Hit and Run. And that should pave the way for Train of Thoughts and King Pie. However, I have to decide between Train of Thoughts and King Pie as my top choice. I'm going to take a shot at Train of Thoughts. The fact that this horse works 36.3. So I'm going to go with horse number 4, Train of Thoughts, to get the better of horse number 6, King Pie. Then for third, horse number 1, Oil Machine. For fourth, number 7, Princess Fiani. Rounded off your superfectors, ladies and gentlemen, put horse number 10, She's Adorable, and horse number 11, Hit and Run. Closing out, final race, 5 furlong round, maiden condition race, fillies. 13 declared. I think I'm going to boil it down to 4 of them. And that's horse number 4, Prima Suprema. 10 altogether. 12, Miss Brayton. 13, Joyful Surprise. Prima Suprema. On debut, this horse finished third by 7 1/4 length when beaten by Native Flyer and Enthusiasm. Now, this horse is back, working quite decent on the 5th of the 7th, 4 in 48, 2 by 103. Charlton Riley maintains the ride. As I said, I think Jason's trying to reward Charlton with a winning ride. This jockey works some of his horses in the morning, and I think the reward should be given here. And as such, Prima Suprema, based on the fact that he's working quite decent, I think is good enough to beat these. 10 altogether. So I was trying to steal Oman last when caught by Duchess. They have replaced Paul Francis with Demar Williams. Altogether, once again, will be on that lead and should run another brave race. 12, Miss Brayton. Somewhat of a disappointment. I tipped this horse a few times. Just didn't get her headed front. However, figure 8 off. Maybe that's what this horse need. Just basics alone. Radish Roman now replaces Philip Parchment, who rode this horse on the last 2 occasions. Miss Brayton, I expect to run very, very good race comes Saturday. 13, Joyful Surprise is another horse that is improving, with Henry maintains the ride for the third consecutive occasion. Last time out, 4th by head length when beaten by Native Flyer. However, on the 5th of the 7th, 4 and 51. Flat. Figure 8 now on. Joyful Surprise is coming to run. However, I'm going to stick with Prima Suprema. Horse number 4 with Charlton Riley to get the better of horse number 13, Joyful Surprise. Then for 3rd, Miss Brayton. For 4th, Altogether. I5 Superfecta players, Don't Leave, Chasing My Dream, and The Storm. That's it for me, racing fans. Continue to like, share, subscribe to my channel. Best of luck. See you at the races.